Hello! So the second topic that we are going to have on our second quarter is all about graphing linear inequality. So yesterday, we have discussed how we are going to illustrate linear inequality. So this time, we are going to graph linear inequality. So I have here the quotation, everyone get a communicator, wherein one side blank, other side graph. Okay, so wherein it will describe later how are you going to have the graph of linear inequality. So to proceed, how are we going to determine the type of line to draw? Okay, so if you're going to graph linear inequalities, it is quite similar on how you are going to graph linear equations. But since we have the inequality symbols greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, and less than or equal to, it will be a quite different with how you are going to graph linear equation because you will use two kinds of lines. You are going to have the dotted line or dashed line and the solid line. If you are given the inequality symbol greater than or less than, so you are going to use dotted line. If you have greater than or equal to and less than or equal to, so you are going to connect the points using solid line. Okay, so how are we going to have here? Choose the type of line for the inequality given. So in number 1, we are given y is greater than or equal to 3x minus 2. So which line, what kind of line are you going to use to connect the points or to have the graph of that given inequality? Are you going to use solid line or a dotted line or dashed line? Correct. So you are going to use the solid line. Next, in number 2, we have y is greater than 1 over 4x minus 5. So what kind of line are you going to use? Is it a solid line or a dotted line or dashed line? Correct. So we have dotted line because we have greater than symbol. Okay, question? Okay. So choose the inequality symbol for the line shown. So we have here this one. So which symbols should be given for you to use this line? Is it less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, or less than or equal less than or greater than? Correct. So you are going to use these symbols. Okay, next. Let's have this line.
Déjà vu.
So we have here solid line. So that's why the inequality symbol should be correct with or equal. Okay, question? Okay. So if the inequality is in the form y is greater than mx plus b or y is greater than or equal to mx plus b, you are going to shade, okay, the above line. But if your inequality is in the form y is less than mx plus b or y is less than or equal to mx plus b, you are going to shade up below the line. Because if you are going to have the graph of linear inequality, it is half region of our Cartesian plane. Unlike in the linear equation that it is just a straight line. But in inequality, you are going to have the shaded region or half of the Cartesian plane. So you are going to have the shaded region, the so-called shaded region. So I'll show you what do we mean by shaded region. So let us have here to graph y is greater than or equal to x minus 2. Okay? So you are going to apply your knowledge on how you are going to graph linear equations in two variables. So since it is in the form y is greater than or equal to x minus 2 or written in the slope-intercept form, so you are going to graph the line y equals x minus 2. So if you are going to recall, your m here is 1 and your b here is negative 2. So you are going to plot first your b or y-intercept, which is negative 2. So you have here 0, negative 2. And then rise over run. So you are going to count since your slope is 1 or positive 1, so you are going to count 1 unit upward and then 1 unit to the right. So you will have here the second point. And then you're going to connect the 2 points. And since you are given here with or equal, so that's why you are going to use a solid line. And then, since our inequality symbol is greater than or equal, so you are going to shade above the line. So when we say above the line, so you are going to have here the shaded region. Okay? So therefore, this is now the graph of y is greater than or equal to x minus 2. Or, you may also have, if you haven't your idea, which part are you going to shade? So, you are going to test a point. Okay? So, we have here, for example, 0, 0. Okay? So, you may test 0, 0 on our given inequality. Okay? So, in 0, 0, your x is 0, your y is 0, our origin. Since it is the easiest number that you are going to solve on our inequality. So, your y is 0, is greater than or equal to, our x is 0, minus 2. So, 0 is greater than or equal to 0 minus 2 is negative 2. So, we all know that 0 is still greater than negative numbers. Okay? So, that's why it is true. So, wherever it is true, so this is the part that you are going to have your shade. Okay? Any question? Okay, so let's have more examples. So, for another example, I have here to graph y is less than or equal to x minus 2. So, this time, we have the symbol less than or equal to. So, still, you are going to graph the line y equals x minus 2. So, again, you have here this one as negative 2. Then, rise over run. Count 1 unit upward, 1 unit to the right. Okay? And then, since or equal, so you are going to use the solid line. And since it is less than or equal to, so you are going to shade this one on the lower part of the line. Okay? Or simply, again, you are going to use 0, 0. For example, you have here the 0, 0. So, we have here 0, 0. Okay? So, we have here 0 is less than or equal to 0 minus 2. 0 is less than or equal to negative 2. So, it is false. So, again, as I have said earlier, wherever it is true, so that is the place or the part of the Cartesian plane that you are going to shade. Why is it true? For example, I have here 4, 1. Okay? And you are going to substitute that in our given inequality. So, again, we have here 4, 1. So, our x is 4 and our y is 1. So, we have here 1 is less than or equal to, our x is 4 minus 2. So, 1 is less than or equal to, 4 minus 2 is 2. 1 is less than or equal to 2. So, it is true. So, that's why you will see that point in the shaded region here. Okay? I hope you get it. Okay, next. Okay, so the man said, if I only had a brain, but it should be brain. Okay, so do you do anything different when the line is dotted rather than solid? Okay, so why are we going to have the dotted line or the solid line? Okay, so if you are going to go back here on our example here, for example, let us have this 1, negative 1 as our point. Okay? So, since we have here or equal, so let us see why do we use the solid line. So, again, let us check 1, negative 1. Okay? So, our x is 1 and our y is negative 1. So, we have negative 1 is less than or equal to 1 minus 2. negative 1 is less than or equal to 1 minus 2 is negative 1. Okay, so we have here negative 1 is less than or equal to negative 1 is still a part of our solution. Okay, because in our linear inequalities, it is different from our linear equation. On our linear equation, the solutions are just on the line. Okay, but in our linear inequalities, all the points in the shaded region are solutions of our given inequality. Okay? And if we are going to use the solid line, those points within the solid line are included in the solution of our given inequality. Okay? So let's have this one. So the answer on the question is not really. Okay? So graph y is greater than x minus 2. Okay. So still, it is written in the slope-intercept form. So you will have to graph the line y equals x minus 2. But this time, you are going to use dotted line. Okay? So we will have here to plot the point. So negative 2 again. Then we have here again this, the second point. And then since we have is greater than symbol, so we are going to use the dotted line or the dashed line. And then you're going to decide wherever you are going to shade. So since y is greater than, okay, so the symbol is greater than, so you are going to shade above the line. Okay, so above. So we have here, okay, the shaded part. Okay, when for another example, we have here, okay, less than. So we have here, graph the line, y equals x minus 2, but make the line dotted. So again, we have here the first point, the second point, the dotted line or the dashed line. But this time, since our y is less than, so you are going to shade the lower part. Okay? The place below the line. Okay? Question? Okay. So I have here a question, but you will not just solve this. So you will just determine the type of line. So since we are given y is greater than negative 1/2 x plus 3, what kind of line are you going to use? Is it a solid line or the dotted line? Correct. So you are going to use the dotted line. But since we have here again greater than symbol, so which part of the region are you going to shade? So you are going to shade above or below the line? Correct. You are going to shade above the line. Okay, next. How about this one? You are going to choose the correct inequality for the graph shown. Okay, so in the first one, we have y is less than 1/3 x plus 2. The second one, we have y is greater than or less than, okay, sorry, y is less than or equal to 1/3 x plus 2. The third one is y is greater than 1/3 x plus 2. And the last is y is greater than or equal to 1/3 x plus 2. Okay, correct. You have to make your clue. Okay, so since you are given the solid line, okay, so again, since you are given the solid line, so you may cross this out. Because if you are given the solid line, you are going to have the greater than or equal to symbol and less than or equal to symbol. But the question is, which part should be shaded if you have this one and if you have this one? Since we have the shaded region below, so therefore, which one is the correct answer? Okay, correct. So we have here y is less than or equal to 1/3 x plus 2 because you have the shaded region below the line. Okay, question? Okay, so where to shade for undefined or no slopes? the inequality must be in X number, no Y format. Okay? So, this bomb can be greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. Okay? For example, X is greater than 3. Okay? Something like that. Okay? So, to proceed, if the inequality is, okay, so this is the number sign, X is greater than the number, or X is greater than or equal to the number, so you are going to shade to the right of the line. While, if you have X is less than the number, or X is less than or equal the number, so you are going to shade to the left of the line. Okay? For example, you are going to graph X is greater than negative 2. So, you are going to search for X is equal to negative 2 first. So, we have here. And then, you are going to use dotted line because you are only given greater than symbol. And since it is greater than, so you are going to shade on the right of the line. Okay, so therefore, this will now be the graph of X is greater than negative 2. Okay, another example, if you are given X is less than or equal to negative 2. So, we have here to graph X is equal to negative 2. So, we have here to use solid line because of or equal symbol. And then, you are going to, yes, shade the left of the line because you have less than or equal to. Okay, question? Okay, next. How about X is greater than or equal to 3? You're going to choose type of line. Is it a solid line or a dotted line? Correct. You are going to use a solid line. And then, you are going to choose where to shade. Is it on the left or on the right? Okay, correct. So, we are going to shade on the right side of our line.